Hey, what's up, everybody? Live in front of a studio audience. It feels pretty good. David Gascon here. Week number 15 is upon us. Benny versus the Penny. Thank you very much for dropping on by. Got a lot of things to get to. First off, the show is powered by Ecamm Live, a Mac-based application for all your streaming needs, whether it's live or on demand. If you'd like to support the show, find out more information on it, you can click the description below, and I'll have everything and anything that you want on it. Ben and I would love for you to subscribe to our show, what we're doing, not only here in the National Football League, but beyond that. You see everything down below. Subscribe, find our handle down there, and also hit the notification button as well, so that way we can keep you up to date for shows that come on here in the near future. Got off to a great start yesterday with the Chargers and the Las Vegas Raiders, and for more on all that, and of course, looking back at last week as well, the big man on campus, Ben Maller. What's up, man?
Well, I like the fact that you've added, Gascon, the sound effect, the West of the 405 applause, the canned applause is outstanding. And I want you to know also, this is technically the Maller vacation, and I think this is work. I'm not getting paid for it, but I think this is work. So, but not that I'm complaining, because I like handicapping NFL games. I do like handicapping games, so. Yeah, here we are. It's very exciting. Very exciting, Gascon.
You've traded in your youth of collecting baseball cards for capping NFL games now, it seems like, right?
Yeah, I'm a complete loser. I admit that. So I like to handicap games and stuff. And I just want you to know, when we started this, you were dressed like a 1980s television detective. And now you've gone down to a T-shirt. Next week, if we do the show, you'll be naked. And I've got a collared shirt. Look at that, a collared shirt. I've got my church clothes on, or in my case, my temple clothes, my synagogue clothes. But I still got, I've got the collars. So.
Well, I got my blazer still here, so if I need to put that on just for aesthetic purposes, I can certainly do that. But you're rocking the Rob Lowe hat as well, so it's not all formal. You got a little cash in you.
Well, I like the hat because it annoys people. I've gotten so much reaction. You know, I have a lot of hats, and this is my NFL handicapping hat that I wanted. They didn't have it in my size for a long time. They finally got it, and I love all the college hats. People get reacted. They have what I call hat phobia. Yeah, where they just freak out over the hats. You're wearing that hat and all this. The Iowa Hawkeyes hat, the Kentucky Wildcats hat. People freak out over the hats. Crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
It triggers people. Even the Dodgers hat triggers a lot of people for some odd reason. It's not like they're the evil empire, but it's still kind of weird.
That's just Giant fans, though. That's the Gigante fans that are all upset by that. But so you mentioned we did get a win last night. Now, before we get going, I'd like to thank the Chargers. I was a little nervous there when the Raiders kicked the field goal and the Chargers had to go down the field, matriculate the ball down the field, and they got close. And I was like, they're going to screw this up. They're going to have Bagley come on, tie the game, play for a tie. Yeah. I would have won, but he would have missed the kick. So it would have been a push anyway. And listen, good teams, as we always say, Gascon, good teams win. Great teams cover. And the most important thing, because every time I do these handicapping things, I think of my friend Dominican Mike in Florida, who called the overnight show. And he lost, I think it was $700. He didn't have a ton of money. He lost $700 on the Ravens because of something that I had passed on that I got from somebody else about the Ravens. Remember that Ravens game against the Steelers?
Yeah. Was it about someone
Yeah,
not playing in
yeah.
that game?
Well, no, my guy who covers the Ravens is like, they don't want to play. They're like, they're not into it. They're not, my guy Sports with Coleman's like, they're not into the game. I would not. I mean, they're not going to be ready to play.
Yeah.
And they went out there and hung around enough to cover the point spread against the Steelers. But also the other thing here, money management, Gascon. In order to win money, you need to win more than 52.4%, but really you got to win closer to 55% to make any kind of real money. You shouldn't bet every game. I'm not betting every game. We do handicap every game, and then you got to pick and choose. I always say, Gascon, the Maller plan here for Benny versus the Penny. When I started this a long time ago, I give you marginal handicapping, and then you do your own homework, and if we both match, then you probably got something there. If we both agree on the game, then you probably got something. So
yeah. And most shows or most hosts will only pick like an allotment of games. They'll look at the high tiered ones, but that's not where you make your money. You make your money on dog games, and that goes to college too. You look at like the MAC, the WAC, Mountain West Conference, like that's where you find your money. Not when you're looking at like Alabama, Florida, LSU, Tennessee, those programs, especially in the NFL. It's the same way. Like you've taken the Jets, you've hit them a few times, the Cowboys, the Bengals, it doesn't matter.
I remember when I was in Vegas years ago and I was sitting in the sports book and losing my ass. And this guy next to me was like, it was during the summer, like WNBA was going on.
Oh,
and this guy was betting on the WNBA and he was killing it. Like I was like, how you killing it at the WNBA? Who the hell cares about WNBA? But the casinos didn't really take it when the WNBA started. They didn't really take it all that seriously. And if you really handicapped it and you knew what was going on, you could win money on the WNBA. The most extreme. We saw this year, Gascon, with the 134 days without sports. There were people betting on all kinds of ridiculous wrestling matches in Uzbekistan and things like that. It's just anything to get some action on. So
yeah, I mean, my favorite, and it's not really talked about a lot, is tennis. Because you think about tennis, you have two players. You don't have that many variables. You have a judge, you have video replay if need be, but you have two players competing. NFL, of course, you got 11 on 11. You got special teams, you got offense, you got defense, then you got coaching. And as you mentioned with the Chargers and the Raiders last night, there's questionable coaching decisions that are made every week, and there's certain teams that know how to piss away a game because of bad coaching.
Shout out Anthony Lynn of your Los Angeles Chargers. But they won. They won the game, so they didn't win the game. Now, let's get going, Gascon. Come on, here we go. We got to look back. What do we have here? Let's look. Well, not a great week. It was an okay week.
Yeah, but you finished. I'll tell you what. When I looked at the morning slate of games that you had, you were in some trouble. And then all of a sudden, backdoor cover, backdoor cover, backdoor cover. I mean, you got on your horse, man. It doesn't matter how you start; it's how you finish, and so you'd stick it out, especially in that Kansas City-Miami game.
Yeah, well, how about the Ravens-Browns? That was the Browns were winning that game late, and you thought maybe the way they were going late in the game with Lamar Jackson getting hurt, you're like, hey, wait a minute. But so here are the overall numbers. I like the music. I feel like I'm at the dentist. I need to get my tooth pulled. So last 2 weeks, Gascon, 20-11 handicapping games. 20-11 last 2 weeks, and we are both over 500. I'm slightly behind the Penny. One game? Are you bleeping kidding me? One game behind the Penny?
It's not bad though.
All of this nonsense. That's the bit. See, that's the bit, Gascon. The bit is, I spend all my free time that I could be laying on my ass doing nothing, handicapping games, and the Penny, and we pretty much have the same exact record. So what's the point? This is the definition of stupidity. What I'm doing right now.
Which
Unbelievable.
Hey, but at least you're above the Mendoza line, right? At least you're hitting above 200, and you and the Penny are over 500, so you're not juicing out, which is always a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that is true. I see Terry in England, annoying as always, calling me an elitist. How can he call me out by him? Dan, now, how many times do you get this, Gascon? This guy says Gascon isn't even the worst Gascon in L.A., and that's saying something. People seem convinced that because the district attorney in L.A. who believes in a lawless
Society.
Old West society, wants to turn Los Angeles into Sodom and Gomorrah, and he's got the same last name that you have, although it's pronounced a little bit differently. And I remember when this guy was running and he won the election, I was getting email from Mallard militia people saying, "Is that guy related to David? Congratulate him for me." I'm like, no. Man.
No.
Brutal.
Wait and see, man. Wait and see. I don't know what's going to happen, but for those that haven't downloaded it yet, we had a chance to talk to Dave Rubin, who had a trip to DC, and on his way out of the door, he did take a shot at me, which is pretty funny. But it was a good conversation we had. We talked to him for like 25, 30 minutes, and he always lets it rip, so it's good.
Yeah, I know. I love Dave Rubin. That guy's great. You know, some of these political guys, you put them on, and you're like, I mean, my God. But he's entertaining. So he's that's all you want as a communicator, right? The basics. You got to be. To me, it's entertaining. Some people want information. I go to a library for information. If I'm listening to audio or video content, I want someone that's engaging, and otherwise, I'll just go take a nap.
Yeah.
Who wants that?
Speaking of which, speaking of entertaining, let's get the show on the road. How about we go Denver and Buffalo?
All right, yeah, we got 2 Saturday games this weekend. You see some of the numbers up there. The Bills come in at 10-3. The Broncos at 5-8. This game is in Denver. It's on the NFL Network. Now, the schedule I have, Mike Tirico is calling this game with Kurt Warner. And then he's going to come back and do the Sunday night game. So he's got 2 games. Oh, my God. 2 games in 2 days. How's he going to survive? Now, the Bills opened up a 5.5-point favorite in this game, and the Bills are favored by 6. It's going to be in the 40s and mostly cloudy at Broncos Stadium at Mile High. I'm actually taking the Broncos in this game. And I'm gonna make this my best bet, one of my best bets this weekend. I'm gonna start right out of the gates with a best bet. Now, the reason I like the Broncos, this is more of a play against the Bills than it is on the Broncos. Over the years, when a team comes off a signature win, like Buffalo had against Pittsburgh last week, they usually have a lull the next game. They might win the game, but they don't normally play that well, and certainly don't live up to the gambling market. History has shown that, and that's a showcase win last week over the Steelers, and they have been the toast of the NFL. A lot of love, a lot of talk about this, that, and the other thing regarding Buffalo. They also have divisional games coming up to close out the season, so you play the Patriots and the Dolphins to come here for the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen, I am going to say he suffers from some altitude sickness here, does not play a complete game, which is actually standard for him. He typically has a bad half here and then a good half like he did against Pittsburgh last week. The Broncos, though, your Broncos, Gascon, at home have a top 10 defense. So they have a top 10 defense. This year, they've been one of the top 10 defenses in Denver. On the road, not as much. Now, the Broncos are banged up. Philip Lindsay and Lindsley, the running back, and Melvin Gordon both out. They're questionable. I'm assuming they'll play, but they're not fully ready to go. The thing that always gives me a pause when you take the Broncos is the erratic play of Drew Lock. And he put up a masterpiece. That was an oil painting against the Carolina Panthers last week. And so does that mean he comes crashing back to earth this week? Certainly, I hope not. Denver is 6-3 against the spread as a home dog. Their last 9 in the Mile High City, not counting the game started by the candy salesman against the Saints. I'm tossing that game out because they had no chance. So I'm going to put my neck out there, getting almost a touchdown with a pretty good Bronco defense, as long as Drew Lock does not just puke all over the field. I expect the Denver Broncos, even with a banged-up secondary, I expect them to keep this game close, nip and tuck. I'll take the Bills to win, but the Broncos to cover. Bills 26, Broncos 23.
Penny's also going with the Denver Broncos. Do you ever get that feeling when you watch Drew Lock play, you think it's Jay Cutler 2.0?
Oh, he's worse than Jay Cutler. That guy, Drew Lock, sucks. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't, and watch. I bet you he finishes the year. He played well against Carolina. He'll play pretty well this week. It's going to be the same as last year. Remember last year he played well at the end of the year, and the people in Denver were like, "We got something."
Right.
You know, it's like that old line. What was the GM of the Dodgers? Branch Rickey. I think it was Branch Rickey. You never judge a player on how they do in preseason or the last month of the year.
Yeah.
You know, like in baseball, when they call guys up the last month and then they bat 400 and then you think they're going to bat 400 and they bat 218, that kind of thing.
No, of course, it's like, well, recently I remember Matt Kemp when he lit the world on fire during spring training, and then all of a sudden the first couple of weeks he was good and then fell off the cliff. I guess Dak Prescott's the one exception to preseason ball.
Yes, exactly. Exactamundo. All right, so next up, what do we got here? Carolina at Green Bay. This is on the NFL Network. Adam Amin and Mark Schlereth have the call. Now, the Packers opened up a 9-point favorite. This game has stayed flat. The line has stayed flat. Just down the road from my brother who lives over in Appleton, Wisconsin, and the weather 31 degrees and overcast, which is actually a balmy day at Lambeau Field. This is the primetime game. As we mentioned, Adam Amin and Mark Schlereth. So they have the Fox broadcasting crew working for the NFL Network. I'm going to take Carolina in this game. I was going to make it a best bet, but I'm not. I'm just going to make it a regular bet if you're into those type of things. I do like the Panthers. It is fair to say the Packers have not had a lot of obstacles here this season, and this is yet another relatively soft matchup. To underscore that, Aaron Rodgers, check this out. This is an amazing stat that I saw this week as I was handicapping this game. Aaron Rodgers has more touchdown passes than J.K. Scott has punts. So the Packers have more touchdown passes from their quarterback than they have punts here in 2020. Now, Green Bay, though, check this out. Green Bay is 1-4 over their last 5 games when favored by 9 or more points. However, the Packers are 4-0 against the spread in primetime games this season. So they've done very well when the lights have been on. I just love Carolina.
I was going to say, that's like the anti-Kirk Cousins, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I like Carolina as an underdog. I hate them as a favorite. I bet against them last week when they were favored, and I'm betting on them this week. Matt Rule, that new coach, the college coach that came over, is 7-1 against the spread as a dog in 2020. In the last 8 times Carolina has been an underdog, 7-1, and Carolina, they're 5-2 as underdogs of 8 or more points. Teddy Bridgewater He's not a very good quarterback. He's an average quarterback, but he is a maestro at the backdoor cover. All right. He has outplayed the gambling market. We've given the numbers over the season here in these type of situations. Now, Teddy has regressed this season. I don't think he's played all that well and certainly not lived up to the contract that he got. But the last 4 weeks, he's just average. He's averaging 7 yards per attempt, a passer rating of 93. That being said, I think over a touchdown, Carolina as a team's got a little fight in them, especially as an underdog. I'm going to take the Packers to win, but the Panthers to get the backdoor cover. Packers 30 and the Panthers 23 to final.
Penny going with chalk in this one, going with the Packers.
The late night drug tester says take the Badgers and Packers in a 2-game teaser. He must be in Wisconsin. Gotta be. Who else do we have? Let's see. Robbie, the Mariner fan, he's going back to the Bills game. He says Bills by 21. Robbie he worships Josh Allen.
It's a little gross. Yeah, it's a little gross.
Right? Yeah. Frank in LA writes it. He says Green Bay looking ahead to a big game against Tennessee next week. Letdown situation. Yeah. Frank in LA. Yeah, that's right. Panthers cover. Maybe they win the game outright. I don't see them winning the game outright, but I'd love if they did win the game outright. I'd be very happy. Pierre, friend of Alf the Alien Opiner, says, thank God Philexis is not on YouTube. Philexis is in the top 5, Gascon, as the worst member of the Maller Militia on Twitter. He does not understand how to use Twitter, and it's really redonkulous.
Who's number 1? Marcel?
No. Number one all time is one of our guys in Minnesota who was so excited. He's an older guy and he loved the show. I'm not going to say his name to protect the
The innocent.
to protect the yeah, exactly, or the guilty in this case. But so he wanted to start a Twitter. He didn't know how to do Twitter, so his Twitter, hand to God here, Gascon, his Twitter handle was his phone number. You know how you have the box, you got to put your number in there and your name, and he put his phone number for his Twitter handle. So not only was that, if you wanted to give him a call, you could give him a call, or you could just see his tweets. It was
that's special. That is special as hell, man.
Yeah. All right, we have a trivia. Let's get trivial. Let's get trivial. Woo!
Let's dip into this. How about this? The last time the New England Patriots didn't have a winning season, I led the league in passer rating. Who am I? And of course, all this is brought to you by Fanatics, which is helping support the cause.
That's right, Fanatics. As we wait for the P1s and the Maller Militia watching the live feed on Friday evening night to help us out and give us some answers. Fanatics, hey, the holidays are coming up. Hanukkah just ended. Maybe you want to get a late Hanukkah gift, or as our friend Smokey Robinson says, Chanukah. Happy Chanukah. That's over with now. Oh man, that is tremendous. Anyway, but Hanukkah's over. You still got time to do some Christmas shopping. That's a week away, so you want to get a nice size 8 baseball cap for your favorite radio guy or something like that. You're more than welcome to do that. But or just people you actually like in your real life. So check that out. This is a good question though. It's been forever since the Patriots did not have a winning season. Now they're under 500 right now, so they've got to win the last two, which is a road game against the Dolphins and then a home game against Buffalo, or they will finish either 500 or below. So who led the league in passing last time the Patriots were under 500? Some of the answers coming in. Pierre, friend of Alf, the alien opiner, says Eli, the punk Manning. Queen Roxanne going with babyface Gascon. Well, she likes you, Gascon.
It's good. It's a good pick. Number one.
Christian Ponder. Why would you even ponder passing from Just Josh? We're still not getting any. We're trying to get the Viking play-by-play guy on, and he blew us off, right?
The infamous NFC Championship game, Saints and Vikings, right?
Yeah. Why would you even ponder that?
I have Brett Favre getting just decimated in that game.
Dan's going with Ken O'Brien. Robert says Falco. Thomas says Drew Bledsoe. Mr. Luciano from Los Angeles checks in. He's got Shawn Michaels. Dino Bravo was guessed by Dan. Scott's going with Todd Marijuanovic. Well, that's a good one. We used to have a Twitter guy that would, every time I do a Who Am I game or an Instant Trivia, his answer would be Todd Marijuanovic. Joe Biden was guessed by Terry in England. Who else do we have? Larry King from the Late Night Drug Tester. Bill Clinton's cigar from the Funky Flashman. Well, there you see the answer right there. Brian Greasy, who's now on Monday Night Football. Just an average Monday Night Football broadcaster, but he makes a lot of money. So there's that. Oh, I see Justin in Cincinnati is in the chat. He's got Aaron Hernandez as his go-to answer. So very exciting. Let's move on. Let's get back to the games here, Gascon. We've got the Sunday early card. The Houston Texans at 4-9. Indianapolis Colts coming at 9-4. You see some of the numbers there and how the series has been dominated by the Indianapolis Colts. Now, I'm actually going to take the Texans here. This is an enormous mismatch, I understand, on a depth chart. The Colts have a top 10 defense. They can ground and pound with Jonathan Taylor and Naheem Hines. T.Y. Hilton's played pretty well recently for them. So they have a balanced offense, but the Texans are terrible. They can't stop the run. Everything indicates Colts. Houston's coming off an absolute gutless effort last week in Chicago. All right, they made Mitch Trubisky look like Patrick Mahomes last week. They looked uninterested. They looked like they were already on vacation, like I looked last night when I was on the radio and sounded like. So the Texans are the only team in the league to allow over 1,000 rushing yards on runs of 10 or more yards so far this season, which I don't think is good. But this is a contrarian pick. I believe for many years, anytime you get 7 or more points in a divisional game, you take the points. So I am going to close my eyes. I'm going to cover my ears and shut my mouth, and I'll take the Colts to win but not cover. Colts 26, Old Man Rivers, Texans 20 will be your final. And the Penny pick.
Penny's going with chalk again, going with the Colts. Back-to-back chalk picks.
All right. The drug tester says Colts in a route or route.
Route.
He says. Yes. Depends on where you grew up.
Hey, at least one guy from USC, Michael Pittman's looked pretty good for them, the rookie wide receiver.
Yeah, but he's not a quarterback. See, the problem with USC is they had all these blue chip quarterbacks, and they get to the NFL and they boot. They just barf all over. Hey, by the way, did I send you that story? You allowed me to do one high school football game, which was the worst game in the history of high school football in 2019. Yeah. And the quarterback of that game was General Booty. And General Booty went to school, and I guess this year he went back to Texas. But he was trending on social media, General, because of his name.
Yeah.
And where did he end up going to college? Did he pick a college? I didn't see.
I forget where he committed to, but yeah, like they were talking about him. That's like the upper echelon of college football quarterbacks, right? Major Applewhite, General Booty. Those are pretty profound names for athletes.
Remember when Florida State had a wide receiver whose last name was a slur against gay people? Remember a few years back?
Yeah.
It's interesting. Let's see here. Justin in Cincinnati says Chris in Texas blows worse than your Martina Navratilova answer. So how about that? Attacking Chris in Houston. It's uncalled for.
Great.
All right, let's keep it going here. What do we have? Detroit 5-8.
Tennessee.
Yeah. It's on CBS. Is this the Spiro Adidas game?
No, I think it's too good. You got Derrick Henry. You got like that one guy, or at least A.J. Brown too. But no, can't be Spiro in this game.
You have lost the Spiro Adidas game. I'm sorry. Yes, you take your parting gift on the way out, Gascon. Spiro Adidas, who's replaced Dick Stockton for the worst game of the weekend, at least at CBS. Spiro and Adam Archuleta. This is a massive point spread. Tennessee is favored by 11 in this game. Titans open an 8.5-point favorite. Weather in Nashville, the house that Clay Travis built, 44 degrees and overcast at Nissan Stadium in Nashville. I originally was going to take the Detroit Lions on this game. And I looked at it. I hate betting double-digit favorites. It just is brutal. I can't stand it. But I am going to do it here. I'm going to take the Tennessee Titans. I'll lay the points. Over recent years, Matthew Stafford and the Lions are 1-9 straight up, 5-4-1 against the spread as underdogs of 10-plus points. The injuries are piling up now. This has all of the ingredients for a blowout win for the Tennessee Titans. Kenny Galladay is out with a hip injury. And by my math, and I'm using Maller math here, the team from the Motor City have 4 starters out, and Matthew Stafford has got a rib problem and a thumb injury, and I guess he's going to try to play from last I saw. But if he can't finish the game, or if he can't start the game, if something changes over the weekend, Chase Daniel is the backup. So good luck on that. And then the other thing for Tennessee, they should have their way here. As I said, I don't like big favorites. Tennessee, in fact, as a 10 or more point favorite, their last 4 in that situation, they are 1-3 against the spread. The lone win came last season against Houston. I just cannot bet on Detroit, though, because of the injuries and the just lack of effort I've seen recently. So I'm going to take the Tennessee Titans 37, the Detroit Lions 17, the final.
Taking the home team in this one as well, going with Tennessee. It's been all home teams so far for the penny.
Henry all day, ground and pound, he says. Matt Patricia. Well, he is available since he's no longer coaching the Lions. He could play nose tackle. He's a rocket scientist. He's the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah, well, him and Kyrie Irving, right? Anyways,
Kyrie's an artist. Did you see the rant the other day? I didn't mention this on the show, but you see the rant destroyed Kyrie Irving for the douche that he is. I love the rant. Barkley's great. He just destroyed him, just took him apart limb by limb. Yeah. It was wonderful. All right, I see another game up there. We better keep going here, Gascon. Let's keep moving. The train keeps moving here. I'm going to switch my internet up. I think the good folks here are using my internet. The Maller family's decided to watch some streaming stuff while I'm doing this, so it'll be a glitch for a second here. Hold on a second. It'll switch over, Gascon. And then we'll have crystal clear because I'm going to the alternative Wi-Fi. So
it's the Boost, right?
A second here.
It's the Boost, not sponsored by anybody, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, this is the super secret Wi-Fi, which occasionally the gremlins get into. So, wait a minute here. There's I might not be able to do it. See, I'm going to do this live on the air, so I have to check the password. Hold on a second here. Let's see here. See if we can pull this off. See if it's working. It's going to be magical if it works here, Gascon. It's going to be very exciting.
It could. It'd be like a tightrope across the ravine.
Yeah, it's trying to connect here. Let's see. I don't think it's working. All right, we'll just make do. We're going to make do here. We don't need it. Who cares? The show must go on, right, as long as the show's actually still on the air.
That's
so
right.
We got Tampa and Atlanta. Now, Tampa 8-5. By the way, it is working. Tampa 8-5. Atlanta. See, it looks better. Atlanta 4-9. It's on Fox with Kevin Burkhardt and Daryl Moose Johnston. The Buccaneers opened a small favorite. They were favored by 1.5. They're favored by 6 right now. Last I saw, 42 degrees outside in Atlanta with light rain at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Georgia. The house that our old Fox Sports Radio colleague built years ago. I'm going to take the Falcons in this game. Matty Ice, Matt Ryan, and Atlanta, they are losers of 3 of their last 4. They suck. They've scored just 42 points combined. By the way, I saw it. I'm not ripping off my neighbor's Wi-Fi, trot dog. How dare you? All right. They've scored 42 points combined in the last 3 losses. It looks bleak. Matt Ryan's been helter-skelter with passer rating the past 5 games. 2 of the games he won, but he's gone from 112 passer rating to 45, back up to 75, which is not good. He's been at 80 and then 57. And Atlanta, without Julio Jones, who's got a hammy problem, he's out. Falcons have 3 defensive starters who are out of this game as well. So 3 starters out of the game. This is a contrarian pick. I'm going against the public that thinks Tampa's back because they beat the Vikings last week. And while we talked about Matt Ryan, how about Tom Brady? Tom Brady, the last 5 weeks, he's got 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. He's averaging less than 7 yards a pass attempt. And his passer rating is at 85, which is not great. The Buccaneers also have some injuries in the backfield. Ronald Jones he's out. Leonard Fournette and Shady McCoy are going to take over here. Good luck on that. Now, the positive, the Buccaneers defense has traveled well. In fact, Tampa Bay has the 2nd best road defense this season. Only the Rams have been better on the road. But this is a divisional game. I expect a sluggish performance from the Buccaneers. And even last week against Minnesota, the Vikings controlled the football and were moving the ball up and down the field. I expect this to have to be a scratch and claw job for Bruce Arians' team. They will win, but they will not cover. I'm going to take this as a lower scoring game. Buccaneers 24 and the Falcons 20.
First roadie in this one, Penny going with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
All right, Thomas writes, since it's just a day after the SEC championship, there's an 8 p.m. Saturday night, Alabama versus something. I don't know what he's talking about there. Let's see here. Hopefully Kyrie isn't burning
That is
that's from the air and out.
That is an authentic operation with the internet that you got. It is smooth running. It is a smooth operator. It is like a high performance vehicle.
Back.
Unless it's not. That thing is like a lemon, man. It is old school AOL dial up.
Well, I want you to know we don't have satellite or cable at the Maller Mansion. All we have is Wi-Fi. And apparently, like I said, the Maller family enjoys watching streaming no matter what. No matter what.
That's true. They press on.
Yeah, exactly. Hold on a second. Let me type a few things in here.
Well, you could do that, and while you do that, we will get into trivia number 2. Might as well. It's powered by Fanatics. So, guys, second question coming in. Dolphins cornerback Xavier Howard is 2 INTs away from becoming the first player with 10 INTs in a season since Antonio Cromartie in 2007. But I hold the record with 14. Who am I? That is the question. And it is, of course, powered by Fanatics for all of your needs, shopping, supporting our show. You guys could click the description below. You can hit that sucker, buy anything that you want. Fanatics is great with discounted items right now, especially during the holiday season. You want to get something for Christmas, for New Year's, or a birthday right around the corner, or just because you guys make a purchase. Hit the link below, though. It'll give us a little bit of a help, affiliate link for us, and so that helps us on what we do all season long here in the National Football League, but everything powered by Fanatics. And of course, that is your question. What in the hell are the answers here? I got to take a look at some of these as we get into it. And this has nothing to do with Ben's Wi-Fi, so steering away from that. Michael Huff, former Longhorn. Benny, are you slow rolling that internet connection? Are you like trying to like sever some of those wires and then rehash them together, or what? Fuse them up?
Yeah. No, listen, everything's fine now. I think I've figured out the situation. I think we're good to go here. I think we're all right. And right. I wanted somebody, I want the people of the Maller Militia, I wanted them to be able to complain, because the number one pastime for human beings is to complain.
Complaining, right?
Okay. Yeah, I just want to point that out. That's all I want to point out there.
Okay, since you mentioned this a few days ago with holiday season and hack holiday radio, if you had to create a reverse hierarchy of things that people traditionally do that are bad, does it go 1, complain, 2, play victim card?
Oh, well, that's 2020, right? It's being the victim. It's also like you got to get social media clout.
Yeah.
So you have to do something that you get reaction out of, whatever that might be. But playing a victim's always like, oh, my life is so hard. Hey, toughen up, Buttercup. Everyone's life's hard in one way or another. So come on, your life's not harder than anybody else, and somebody else is always worse than you are. Okay, right. God, my goodness.
We got some more answers coming in. Queen Roxanne, it's not Von Miller, but I like your thinking. Just Josh, Night Train Lane.
Mike Tyson, yes, by Mr. Luciano. That was good.
Are we going to get another version of Don Cherry anywhere in professional sports? I mean, the bravado, the great attire. I mean, him and Craig Sager went back and forth with their suits, but anyone that close that was so out there vocally?
Yeah, I say we will, because that's the Craig Sager. Here in LA, we have Vic the Brick Jacobs, who used to do that. If to stand out, right, you have to dress like a clown to stand out. Craig Sager did it. I remember when, the late Craig Sager, I'd be at a Laker or Clipper game, and he would roll in there wearing regular clothes, and over his shoulder, he had from the dry cleaners a clown suit that he was going to put on for the TNT game. And I remember Vic the Brick, he would show out there with he had the poncho on one time. He always had the fur hat, and he knew he was going to get some TV time on that. And I remember when the funniest Vic Brick story was when Kobe winning shot. I think it was a playoff game.
Yep.
And the first person to run out and hug Kobe after his teammates was Vic the Brick Jacobs. And the Lakers, the PR guy, John Black, was so upset with Vic at the time. It was pretty funny. It was pretty funny. So
it's good. Yeah, I remember that. That was against the Phoenix Suns, I think. He hit a buzzer beater to beat them in a game.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That was a long time ago. So what is the answer here to this wonderful question? The Who Am I game.
Let's go all the way back. Dick Night Train Lane is your record holder. Had to get that name in there for you.
We actually used this a version of this last night. Dick Night Train Lane has the record going back to 1952. 1952 for Dick Night Train Lane, as far as that is concerned. All right, let's keep going here before the Wi-Fi goes down again. And what do we have? Let's see. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
New England and Miami, minus Brady in South Beach.
All right, New England at Miami, and this on CBS. Ian Eagle and Charles Davis. We talked about Ian Eagle last night. Did you see that story, Gascon, that he revealed he does not eat condiments? He does not eat condiments like ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise, any of that stuff. In fact, he says he's never had condiments in his life.
What?
It's a little odd. Yeah.
How can you not eat a hot dog without ketchup and mustard and onions and anything else that you want to put on it? A bratwurst? Come on, man.
I'm just telling you what he said. We were debating on the show what's the weirdest quirk that we know of sportscasters. Like everyone who follows this stuff knows Jim Nantz has the picture of burnt toast. Right, Nance has the picture of burnt toast in his wallet when he goes out to eat, and Mel Kiper.
Wait, why does he have burnt toast? A picture of that?
You haven't heard that story, Gascon? That's bad Jim Nance knowledge by you. Shame on you. So Jim Nance, he travels all the time for CBS doing golf and football and college basketball and all that stuff. So when he goes out to a nice restaurant in normal times, he likes his toast burned to a certain color. And so to make sure that his toast is perfect every time, he pulls out a little photo of how he wants his toast to look, hands it to the waiter. The waiter then goes into the kitchen, hands it to the person cooking the food, and then Jim Nance gets perfect toast the way he likes it every single time.
That is unbelievable. Vince Scully back in the day, didn't he say he used to just suck on Jolly Ranchers to keep his mouth moist, and then because he wouldn't drink water, that way he wouldn't have to go to the restroom?
Yeah, he did not like to drink during the game, anything, because he went to the bathroom. And Vin also, he told me, this is wild, back in the old days when he'd be traveling with the Dodgers and they'd be in St. Louis or Cincinnati or Atlanta, somewhere where it's just oppressively hot during the summertime and the humidity. He never slept in his hotel room with his air conditioning on because it messed with his voice.
Oh.
And so he no matter how bad it was at all those places, and there was some really nasty weather, during the summertime, during baseball season, but Vince said he never had the air conditioning on because he did early on, and he realized that his voice wasn't good, and that's his calling card. So
kind of wild.
He got out of that for sure. All right, so and the other food quirk is Mel Kiper eats pumpkin pie every day. Every day he eats pumpkin pie. So. There you go. I like pumpkin pie. I eat it once a year on Thanksgiving.
There you go.
That's it. Yeah. All right. What do we have here? The Dolphins, a 1.5-point favorite. Miami opened a 3-point favorite. 80 degrees and clear. And this is why everyone's moving to Florida. 80 degrees and clear in Miami at Hard Rock Stadium. That and also the state's actually open somewhat, unlike most other places.
Yeah.
Certainly on the West Coast. I'm going to take the Dolphins here. I'm going to take the Miami Dolphins. Now, a couple of things on this game. This is the first time Miami has been favored over New England since 2013. Since 2013. It's the first time Miami has been favored by more than a point over the Patriots in 17 years. You got to go back to 2003. The Dolphins, as a home favorite of 3 or less, are 4-1-1 their last 6 games. So they've been pretty good in this situation. And remember, what do we always say? The mark of a good coach is who covers the spread, and that would be Brian Flores. The last going back to early 2019, so the last 25 games, Miami is 19-6 19-6, a 760 winning percentage. If you just bet the Dolphin games and didn't worry about it and just laid the points or took the points, the Dolphins are 19-6 against the spread. And Tua Tagovailoa, now he hasn't been that good recently. He's been blah. Last 3 weeks, he's got a passer rating below 90. The Dolphins defense, though, is a top 10 defense of late. They've played better than they did early in the year. Now, the reason the Patriots are getting a decent amount of action here, there are 3 things to remember. Now, I'm not betting on the Patriots, but the Dolphins are coming off a high-profile loss to the Chiefs last week. The Patriots have had 10 days by the time they kick off to get ready. Remember, they played the Thursday night game, and they were gobsmacked by the Rams because you can ram it all day and you can ram it all night. And here's the other thing, though. Since 2013, Bill Belichick has gone against 11 rookie quarterbacks like Tua Tagovailoa. How many times has Bill Belichick lost to a rookie quarterback over the last 7 years? You want to take a guess, Gascon?
0.
Yes. He's 11-0 in that situation against a rookie quarterback. And obviously the Patriots an underdog here. Now the Patriots have had, as they always do, some shenanigans with the injury report. There are 14 players listed as questionable, and many of them starters, including running back Damian Harris and James White, cornerback J.C. Jackson, who's played well for New England this year. He's also on the injury report with a knee problem. Now I am on the Dolphins here because I like the way that Brian Flores is coaching this team right now, and I'm really playing against Cam Newton. The Patriots are a one-dimensional team. It's much easier to defend them. The way I know the Patriots beat the Dolphins early in the year, but I like Miami for some revenge here. The Dolphins have forced a turnover in 19 consecutive games. That is the longest streak in the NFL. Give me the Dolphins in a low-scoring game. I'm going to take Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins 21 and the Patriots 16.
And the penny is going with the Fins as well. Back in Miami in this one.
Travis writes it. He says he's visiting Vegas on Sunday night for the first time. Where do I gamble on a football game?
Man. So that's
pretty hard not to be able to gamble on a football game. Not all the hotels, Gascon, have sports books. Do you know that? There's some of them that don't have sports books, but
yeah. I'm thinking because you like going to the MGM, right? Like that's one of your good spots.
I like the Aria, the MGM. Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's unfortunate because everything's kind of closed down. But for aesthetic appeal, I don't know if you've been there yet. Over at the Venetian, their sports book is downstairs. It's called the Legacy Stadium, and so it's just a giant stadium. Almost looks like a theater. But you go down, they have all these TVs wrapping around the walls, and then you go down some stairs, and they have a flat screen in front of you. And then an entire chart with the sports book that you can see the action, lines moving and adjusting in the whole 9 yards. Like that would probably be like my favorite place to play. Because especially like if a game goes to halftime or the end of a quarter or just a television timeout, you can make a walk 10, 15 feet out of the sports book and you have a blackjack table or a craps table right there. So you can get some more action in between games or in between timeouts.
The late night drug tester says, Travis, just send your money to Ben. He will invest it. Yeah. Frank's going with the Westgate Sportsbook. That's Frank in LA's place to gamble. I like the Aria because it's kind of the sportsbook's a little hidden. Yeah. And they've got luxury chairs and all that. I used to hang out back in the old days. I used to hang out at Caesar's Palace. And they have their sports books just kind of in the corner, and it's surrounded by, back in the day, there were blackjack tables on one side, and then the nightclub, the Caesar's Palace nightclub, was on the other side.
Pure.
So the benefit of that is if you were there kind of a late night on a Saturday watching college football or something like that, there would be all these unbelievably beautiful people, women who are waiting in line to get in the club. And so there was good scenery to check out while you were watching the game if you were losing your bet.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
No, I agree. It kind of gives me these thoughts of when I'm, here west of the 405. You kind of see that on an everyday basis. So, yeah.
Wow. There are beautiful people everywhere, Gascon. There are. Listen, I was in Indianapolis many, many years ago, and I could not believe how many beautiful women were in Indianapolis. I was like, wow. I'd heard like nothing good about Indianapolis, and I was like, wow. It's unbelievable.
What were you doing in Indy anyway?
I was there for the NBA Finals when the Pacers played the Lakers.
Oh, the Lakers, long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been 20. It's only been 20 years. All right, next up, Seattle at Washington. This game is on Fox. You see the record there: Seattle 9-4, Washington 6-7. Kenny Albert and Jonathan Vilma have the call. Kenny Albert, friend of the Maller Militia. The Seahawks opened a 3-point favorite. They are favored by 6 at FedEx Field, Landover, Maryland. Temperature in the 40s and mostly cloudy at kickoff for Dan Snyder's team. Now, I'm going to take Washington as a home dog. I don't love the pick. I was going to bet a lot of money on this game until the injury report came out. But let's focus on Seattle first. The Seahawks, their last 10 games, when favored by 4.5 points or more, they're 4-6 against the spread, so they're below 500. And I believe people are making too much about Seattle's back because they beat the Jets 40-3. It's the Jets. That's a ball of suck. They're the Jets. Or I guess in this case, it's a plane of suck. But prior to that blowout, prior to that game, the Seahawks have been averaging less than 20 points per game the last 25% of the season. And they were 2-6 against the spread their last 8 games coming into the Jets game. That is, to me, more of a reference of where the Seahawks are than last week, the feel-good win over the Jets by Russell Wilson and friends. Now, secondly, Washington, the team formerly known as the Redskins, they have won and covered their last 4 games for Ron Rivera. Now, that was with Alex Smith. The bad news here, and the reason I don't love this game anymore, and I might not even bet it, is because Dwayne Haskins is going to start, and that sucks because Haskins is bad. He's bad to the bone. I thought he was going to be good. He's been terrible, and it just gets worse and worse for him every time he goes out there. So if I do end up betting this game, it's going to be a very small amount of money, but I will bet on Washington if I end up doing it because of the matchup. The kryptonite here of Seattle is the offensive line. In the trenches, they've allowed the 3rd most sacks in the league. 2 offensive line starters are out for Seattle. They've got a 3rd guy who is questionable. And the Washington pass rush is 4th in the NFL in terms of sacks, and they are 3rd in passing yards allowed per game. Last 4 weeks, Washington's defense leads the NFL in quarterback pressures. They have the 2nd highest pass rush rate in the NFL. So that is a mismatch. In the trenches, the Washington defense against the Seattle offensive line. And so if I bet it, I'm going to take Washington as a home dog. And I'm going to take the Seahawks 26 and Washington 23.
Penny also going that way, going with the Washington football team. Man, they've looked good this year defensively. Like they've looked, I mean, last week they had 2 defensive scores that, I mean, their offense did absolutely nothing, but their defense was lights out. So hard to believe.
I hope they were playing Nick Mullins.
Yeah, it's true. But that's the same San Francisco team that beat the Rams. Hard to believe they win this game. They're at 500. For as bad as that division is, for them to get to 500, that's a minor miracle.
Yeah, I was relatively confident they were going to win the game until I found out that Alex Smith. Let me clarify. I don't think Alex Smith is all that good, but he's at least an average quarterback, unlike below average.
Yeah. I mean, well, he's not gonna piss away a game for you. Like he's not gonna be Ryan Fitzpatrick that'll throw you 3 INTs in the first quarter and one of them's a pick 6.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean, you know, that's why I'm reluctant to bet on the exhilarating play of Dwayne Haskins because it's like a trap. No, it's like this trap door opens up, and it's just a pit of snakes, a pit of vipers, and it's a very precarious, uncertain feeling when even if you're winning the bet at any moment, the very unreliable Dwayne Haskins can puke, and then you end up losing the bet. So
I feel like you could do that with a bunch of different guys, right? Like you could put Matthew Stafford in that category. You could put Drew Lock in that category. Probably Carson Wentz this season. There's just a bunch of guys you put them in. All of a sudden, like your lead or comfortable lead turns into a backdoor cover the other way, and you're burning up chalk.
Well, how about Dwayne? Not Dwayne. Jared Goff of the Rams is certainly on that You don't trust him either. All right, let's see here. Justin says, Justin in Cincinnati, the DC Redskins are overachieving. He says, just Josh going with Mr. Unlimited going to be running for his life, he points out. Late night drug tester says, Ben, was Indianapolis the site of David Stern watching you play NBA Jam? Yes. Yes. It was, that's a great, I forgot about that, but I was playing Dave Denholm, who is now the voice of I think the LA Galaxy, radio voice of the LA Galaxy. We were both in Indianapolis covering the NBA Finals. It was a media event. I was drinking. This is so long ago, those hard lemonades. That was like the first time the hard lemonades came out.
Yeah, Mike's Hard Lemonade.
Market. And so, Mike's Hard Lemonade. So they had as many of those as you could want. And I was just drinking. I loved them. I thought they were amazing. So I kept drinking this hard lemonade. And I was playing NBA Jam. And I was the Clippers. He was the Toronto Raptors because they had Vince Carter. He was a big player at the time. And so we were going back and forth screaming, and there was this crowd of people that started kind of walking behind us to check out what was going on, because what are these two lunatics doing? You're playing NBA Jam. And then David Stern came over, and he was like the big kahuna of the NBA at the time, the commissioner. And he's like, why are you playing with those teams? He said, why are you playing with – he couldn't believe that we were playing with the Clippers and the Toronto Raptors. It was pretty funny. The commissioner ripping the Clippers. How dare you?
Speaking of ripping, Ben, we need a little bit of help for everybody that's out there watching the show right now. Give us a thumbs up. You can also hit the subscribe button underneath. Subscribe to the show. Hit the notification button. But we got a bunch of people in here. Thumbs up. Let's do this thing.
That's right. All right, let's keep going here. Did we say Chicago, Minnesota? We're doing that game right now. All right, so the Vikings are 3-point favorites on Fox. Chris Myers and Greg Jennings. 30 degrees in the Twin Cities, partly cloudy. It's a dome, so don't worry about that. U.S. Bank Stadium. I am going to take the Vikings. The Purple People Eaters. This is a play against Mitch Trubisky. Now, the Bears have scored some points with Trubisky, but they're 1-2 straight up and against the spread. They at least have a pulse. But I would say people are making too much out of last week. The Texans just did not show up. That was football malpractice by the Houston Texans last week. So I would expect a regression to the mean for the Chicago Bears. Even though Matt Nagy, he's played 5 games against the Vikings. The Bears are 4-1 with Matt Nagy as their coach. Look at the injury report. Khalil Mack, he's got a shoulder injury. He is questionable. Buster Skrine is out with a concussion. So there's some guys out on that Bears defense. And then, listen, the Vikings' problem is they've been a terrible home team. They got a lot of problems, but they're 2-5 against the spread at U.S. Bank for Mike Zimmer. The Purple People Eaters defense is 32nd in home defense. They're the worst home defense in the NFL this season, giving up 427 yards per game. And they'll be out without linebacker Eric Kendricks in this game. He's out. Also on offense, Kyle Rudolph, the red-nosed tight end. He's got a bad foot. He's out of the game. Now, I expect the Vikings to score some points with Kirk Cousins. He sliced up the Bears pretty good most of that Monday night game earlier this year. It's all those self-inflicted wounds. The Vikings and Bears have the same record, so they're in the same boat. The same ship, if you will. But I'm going to take the Vikings. I like the Vikings to bounce back here. Vikings 30 and the Bears 24.
Penny going with Chicago in this one. Going with the road team, the Bears. The Bears.
The Bears. The Bears. Remember, thumbs up. Look at that. Thumbs up right there. This is very important. All right, everyone, thumbs up. Woo! Look at the thumb. Look at the thumb move. It's like a special effect, yes, guys. Look at that. All right,
they're on a little bit of a delay, but yes. I think everyone's looking for some liquor right now. They want some either Mike's Hard Lemonade or a Zima.
We'll do it live. Let's do it live. I'll do it. We'll just read it. We'll do it live. That's it. There you go. Let's see here. Billy the Beggar was brutal to listen to, Dan says. He ruined the joke segment. Well, this is the weird thing. We had Weedman on, Billy Blanks, better known as Weedman Hippie.
Oh, boy.
And some people love him. I get a kick out of him because when he's not begging, people just are vicious. They rip him apart. They just destroy him. And he takes it. Let's see here. Late night drug tester says Weed Man only has a handout, never a thumb up. All right.
It's a good play on words.
I try to explain to Weed Man. I was like, you realize the people that are listening to the third shift are usually working their second and third job, or if they're not, they have other jobs trying to make ends meet.
Right.
And all you're doing is calling up the radio show begging for money. You understand how there could be a disconnect, the juxtaposition between what you're doing and what the people are listening are doing when they're actually working their ass off to try to make ends meet? Like,
slightly different. Yes. Well, we go from panhandling to Baltimore. When was the last time you were in Baltimore?
Oh, I've never been to Baltimore. I've been close to Baltimore. I've never actually been in Baltimore proper. In fact, my guy Sports with Coleman. I guess the closest I've been was Gettysburg, which is maybe like I think it's like 100 miles or something like that, I believe. But yeah, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, just down the road from Baltimore. So anyway, I have Jacksonville 1-12, Baltimore 8-5 on CBS with Andrew Catalan and James Lofton. The Ravens open an 11-point favorite. They're favored by 13. It's going to be a balmy 38 degrees at kickoff, mostly cloudy skies at M&T Bank Stadium in Maryland. I am going to take Jacksonville in this game. And there's a couple of reasons why. First of all, it's an outrageously large point spread in a divisional game. That's the most important thing. John Harbaugh's Ravens. Now, there's contrasting stats here. John Harbaugh's Ravens are 2-5-1 against the spread when favored by 13 or more points. So that's not a good winning percentage. They had a push against Washington earlier this season. That was a backdoor push, as I remember, when they were favored by 14 points. But as far as the Ravens winning the game, 39 times the Baltimore franchise has been a double-digit favorite in the regular season. They are 39-0 straight up. They've never lost a game outright where they've been favored by double digits or more. That's an interesting quirk. I can't imagine them losing unless Lamar Jackson got hurt or something along those lines. Jacksonville has covered as a 13.5-point road dog against the Packers. That was back in November at Lambeau Field. And this is Lamar Jackson and the Ravens coming off an emotional Monday night game, the poop game, the spit game. So this is a letdown. This is a letdown game. You don't have to play your best to beat Jacksonville. You can play 25, 30% and still win this game. My guy, Gardner Minshew, is back at quarterback. He's back. That's the third different quarterback for Jacksonville in the last 7 games. The Jags have no outright wins since the week 1 win over Indianapolis, but they have covered 4 of their last 6. So I can't lay in division. This is not a divisional game, but I cannot lay almost 2 touchdowns. I can't do it. I'm going to need a backdoor cover, but I think I'm going to get it. So I'll take the Ravens 27, Jacksonville 16. Give me those 15 points. I will take
Penny going the opposite way, going with Baltimore in this one. At least Gardner Minshew, if he's going to get you a backdoor cover, he's playing for his job for all intents and purposes, right?
Well, not really, because it doesn't matter. He can play well. He's playing for a job, not the job, because Jacksonville's going to draft a quarterback probably, or they'll trade for one. Yeah. So, all right, let's get trivial, Gascon. We have yet another trivia question. Very exciting here for the boys in the chat and the boys and girls in the chat. Let's see, what do we have here? Let's see. Oh, if the Packers win this weekend, Matt LaFleur would be the 6th coach to win at least 24 of his first 30 games. That joins a list that includes George Seifert, Guy Chamberlain, I don't know who it is, Paul Brown, I've heard of him, and George Hallis and me. Oh, look at that. We'll give the answer right away. Okay, we don't need any answers there, I guess, Con. Look at that.
I was quick on the trigger as it's a shout out to Justin in Cincinnati. It was a little premature. I heard he's like that when he flies to get laid across the country. So it's a special shout out to Justin in Cincinnati.
Well, the good news is we don't need any answers. Who goofed? I've got to know. I've got to know. It's a live show. It's only YouTube. It's so simple. All you do is click a button and ta-da! By the way, I just want to point out, my
Yes.
Wi-Fi looks marvelous. I look marvelous.
It's not even
clear. Oh, what?
It's better. It's not marvelous, but it's better. That's not saying a whole lot considering the fact that you were buffering for quite a bit, but
hey, they call me buffering. They call me buffering Benny. That's what they call me.
Oh,
Benny the buffer. I like that guys are still answering, even though we just gave the answer.
We're on a delay. Or they're on a delay. That's why.
Doink the Clown, Brother Love was guessed by Dan. Doink the Clown from Alf. The Alien Opiner. Frank went with Anthony Lynn. Marvin Jones was guessed by just Josh.
Marvin Lewis.
Oh, did I say Marvin Jones? Why did I say Marvin Jones? Where did that come from? Wow. All right. Let's move on here since you ruined the trivia.
San Francisco and Dallas. We're in Jerry's world.
All right, San Francisco / Arizona. Remember, they don't know they're kicked out of California by the moonbat politicians of the Bay Area. So They're now in Arizona. The two teams in the Grand Canyon State. 5-8. You see the record there. Dallas 4-9. It's on CBS with Kevin Harlan and Trent Green as the answer. This is a Verkakta matchup here. 49ers are favored by 3. They opened a 2.5-point favorite. AT&T Stadium, the site, 46 degrees at kickoff and clear in the Dallas, Arlington, Fort Worth area. I'm going to take the Niners in this game. Now, every game is a road game right now for the Niners, and they're not off to a good start. As orphans of the NFL, kicked out of Santa Clara by the Looney Tune politicians, so far they are 0-2. Since being kicked out of their home with losses to the Bills and to Washington. Nick Mullins has retained his starting job. He is a all-you-can-eat buffet of mistakes. Mullins has committed 12 turnovers in 7 games, including a fumble and an interception last week. And the Niners are going to be without Deebo Samuel, the wide receiver. He's got a bad hamstring. This is a play against the Cowboys. The Cowboys won the Andy Dalton Super Bowl last week against the Bengals, and they got that rare win, but they're still 3-10 against the number. The 49ers style of offense matches up very well with this Cowboy defense. They're dependent on yards after the catch, yakety yak, and if you've seen the Cowboys, they're a sloppy team. Tackling and blocking, they're not very good at. And I believe they've had 86 missed tackles as a defense this year, which is the most in the NFL. So I'm going to take the 49ers, who have been a good road team. They're 4-2 against the spread on the road. 49ers 30 and the Cowboys 23.
Penny's going with Dallas in this one.
All right, Justin. How about this? Justin, a rare actual human being-like response. Justin in Cincinnati, he says, speaking of Baltimore, Ben, we need a wellness check on Helmet Man. I agree. I don't have a number for Helmet Man. I really don't even know his name. I just know his name is Helmet Man.
Maybe he wanted to do a wellness check on your helmet.
Well, we're worried about him because last time we talked to him, he was having like the roach Olympics on his kitchen floor. He was attacked by roaches. So it's not a good sign.
No, it's not.
I'm just saying. I'm just pointing that out. So, all right. Next up, the New York Jets 0-13 at the LA Rams 9-4. You see some of the against the spread numbers there. Kevin Kugler and Brock Heward have the call. It's on Fox. The Rams open a 16.5-point favorite. They're a 17.5-point favorite. Sweet baby Jesus, Gascon, 17.5 points. That's a college line. Of course, the Jets are like a college team at SoFi Stadium, 74 degrees in the hood in Inglewood on Sunday. And I'm actually going to not bet this game because I can't bet. But if I were gun to the head, knife to the throat, I'm going to take the Jets. But it is against my principles as a gambler to lay this many points.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stay away from the game. I'll enjoy the game. I can watch it, watch the Rams and all that. I have to just cover my nose and my my mouth and the Jets here to show a little bit of fight. They didn't show any fight. They had a bunch of missed field goals, and then the game snowballed away from them against the Seahawks last week. Sam Darnold coming back to La La Land. His numbers are grim. The Jets are 1-7 against the spread when playing teams that are currently in the playoffs. They've lost by an average of 22 points against the better teams that they've played. But that tells you what has happened, not what's going to happen. Now, when I was handicapping this game, one of the cool stats that I saw, the Rams have not been favored by this many points since Kurt Warner, Torrey Holt, Marshall Faulk, and the greatest show on turf days of 2001.
Isaac Bruce. Don't leave him out.
Yeah, Isaac Bruce as well. But as double-digit chalk, Sean McVay is 6-1 against the spread. But this is too many points. The Rams can play a great game and still not cover the spread. I'm going to take the Rams 31 and the Jets 16, the final.
Penny's going to chase the points and go with the LA Rams in this one.
All right. The drug tester. Yes.
I was going to say, what was the largest line this season? Was it Kansas City minus 23 against the Jets?
I believe that is the biggest line. I think you're right on that. Late night drug tester says Fred Dreyer could walk through that door and cover the spread. Wow. Our guy Lee, he says he's got the COVID-19. How about that? There you go. Feel better. Feel better there, Lee. If you're feeling sick, you have it. Some people don't have any symptoms. Hopefully you're asymptomatic. What do we have? What's next here? Philadelphia 4-8-1 at
nice
Arizona.
segue.
What do you want me to do here? I hope he feels better.
Well, in honor of him, we go right to the desert, right?
Oh, yeah. He lives in Arizona, so we'll go to his homeland there. Cardinals 7-6. This game's on Fox. Brandon Godden and Aqib Talib have the call. Cardinals opened a 6.5-point favorite. They're favored by 5.5 right now. 63 degrees in Glendale, Arizona at State Farm Stadium. I'm going to take the Eagles, the Steagles, in this game. Now, I don't like Jalen Hurts. I'm not a big fan. This is more of a play against Arizona. Hurts played okay running the ball. He was not great throwing the ball last week. His passing left much to be desired against a good New Orleans defense. Here's an amazing factoid about Doug Peterson. Did you see the stat about Doug Peterson? He loves backup quarterbacks, the Eagle coach. Now, when Carson Wentz has started a game for Doug Peterson, the Eagles are 34-33-1. They have a .507 winning percentage in games started by Carson Wentz. When the backups, whether it's Nick Foles or Jalen Hurts or anybody else, the backups play, the Eagles, including the playoffs, are 11-2.
Oh,
that's an 846 winning percentage.
They are
pull. 9 games over 500 with backup quarterbacks and 1 game over 500 with the franchise stalwart Carson Wentz, who's been benched. That is an ugly, quirky stat. That's quirky good. And the Eagles are going to be without one of their starting tackles, Jake Driscoll, and defensive back Avante Adams with a knee. Both those guys are out. Now, I said this is mostly a bet against the Cardinals. Cliff Kingsbury has provided Verkakta football. They are the most undisciplined team in the NFL, Gascon. Arizona leads the NFL. They're averaging 7.2 penalties per game. And the Cardinals are without 3 defensive starters, a safety, a defensive lineman, and a linebacker are out of this game. And here's the other thing. Never forget, Kyler Murray is 9-4 in his career when he rushes for 40 or more yards. Alligator Arms Murray is 3-12-1 when he goes under that. And as a favorite, the last 9 times Arizona has been favored with Kyler Murray under center, they are just 3-6. That ain't good. That's not good. Cardinals will win this game, but they will not cover the spread. Arizona 27, Philadelphia 23, the final.
And the Penny's going with Arizona in this one, going with the Cardinals. Man, they looked awesome last week against the Giants. I know you picked the Giants to win, cover the spread, and Kyler Murray kind of cut you down by the knees, but man, he looked awesome last week.
Yeah, do the week before now. Go ahead.
Wow, we're talking about just recently. I mean, he was fantastic. Give him
last
two
props. Last 2 weeks, you'd admit he's a fraud, though. He's not going to win the MVP. You were campaigning for him to win the MVP earlier this year.
Season's not over with Ben Mallory. You got 3 more games.
I'll bet you $10,000 he doesn't win the MVP.
What kind of odds
you want to take that bet? All right. If I lose, I will pay you $10,000. If I win, he does not win the MVP. You got to buy me $200. Pay me $200. How about that?
I already did that. It's in your freezer.
That is not a $200. You are so insane. All right,
it's pretty close.
Oh, I got a couple weeks here before I come back to the radio, so maybe I'll cook it over the 2 weeks. You never know.
That's a long time. You got 2 weeks of vacation? Damn.
Yeah, it's what happens when you work every day during the year. They give you
That's
2
true.
days each week vacation. Yeah. All right. Let's get trivial. Now, try not to have a quick trigger here, Gascon. Can we trust you?
Yeah, we could do that.
Oh, I like we're back at the dentist's office now. I like the music here.
Yeah, last one. Patrick Mahomes has thrown for at least 315 yards in his last 6 games. Tied with Drew Brees and me for the longest such streak in league history. Who am I? That is your question.
All right, we await your answers there. Want to point out to Lee that you are on a long and storied list of members of the Maller Militia that have had the COVID.
What?
Patient zero. We've had a lot of listeners, callers that have had the COVID.
Have you had anyone pass away?
No, we've had no one pass away. But we had Justin in Cincinnati. He had it early. He had it back in like March or April. He had the COVID. Dick in Dayton has had it. Lee in Arizona. And there's a couple of other guys that don't call the show that are email guys that have told me they've had it.
Oh.
So yeah, I mean it's going around. Obviously, Trot Dog writes in. He says the answer to the trivia question is Jim Everett. Alf the Alien Opiner is going with Gagon's itchy trigger finger. You saw Steve, you put this up. Jets are the Rachel of Montebello of sports radio. How dare you? Dan is going with Tom Looney. Just Josh, one of the Cincinnati bros. Just Josh says it is Tony Romo. Who else do we have? Keaton Slovis, the turnover machine for USC from Frank in LA. The late night drug tester is Y.A. Tittle. Rich is going with Craig Morton as his answer. Who else do we have? Dan is going with that great quarterback, Mitch McConnell. Really solid quarterback in D.C. Better than Dwayne Haskins. All right, let's give the answer here and move on with the show. I got places to go, people to see, things to do. What do we got here, Gascon? Let's see here. The reveal answers.
Yeah, we'll.
So before we did it in 10 seconds. Now, see, there is a pill also if you delayed too long, Gascon. That's also a problem. There's like, all right, there you go. Rich Gannon for the Raiders, the Oakland Raiders. Did you see? I know you saw the game last night. That Gruden had the wrong hat on.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Do you believe he said that somebody pulled a joke on him? Do you believe that?
Yeah, I believe it. 100%.
I don't know if I believe it. I bet he probably had that in his rotation of hats, and he just put the wrong hat on.
Yeah, but usually isn't the NFL pretty strict about how they brand their coaches and personnel, making sure that they wear specific NFL attire for games because they're obviously pimping out the new product?
Yeah, I mean the fashion police, of course, right? The fashion police and all that stuff. Remember, this is many years ago. There were some coaches that wanted to wear a suit and tie on the sidelines.
Mike Nolan.
Yeah, but this was like a big controversy in the NFL.
Yeah,
like should we allow coaches to wear a suit and jacket? But the NFL, they have wardrobe deals with Nike,
Right.
and they charge a ton of money. And so essentially everyone on the sidelines is a runway model. It's like when James Harden does the catwalk, goes down the red carpet before an NBA game. All those people on the sidelines, everyone, all the support staff, it's all about wearing the team gear and all that. And speaking of team gear, Gascon, Fanatics, right? They
Yes.
are a partner with the show. Click the link. The key here is you got to click the link. You see it in the description box on YouTube right there. Otherwise, we don't get credit. So it's all about us, right, Gascon?
Yeah, hit the description at the bottom. You get 7 days to purchase something, and of course, everything's discounted right now with the holiday season. But pick something up for a loved one.
Not 70% off, like you said a couple weeks ago, Gascon.
Yeah, there were items that were 70% off. Absolutely.
Yeah, but you made it seem like everything was 70% off. It's up to 70% off.
People want to hear what they want to hear. People want to hear what they want to hear. It's not my problem.
Wow. All right, next up, Kansas City. You see it on your screen there, 12-1. New Orleans, 10-3. It's on CBS with Jim Nantz and Tony Romo. The Chiefs opened a 3-point favorite. They were favored by 3. 59 degrees in New Orleans. Now, I've not seen the spread in the last hour. Has it changed because of the injury report? I do not know the answer to that, but I'll check here in a sec. Mercedes-Benz Superdome. I'm going to take the Chiefs. Now, Drew Brees is coming back. That's the big change here. It was announced earlier today, according to Adam Schefter, that Drew Brees is back. 2 days ago, Sean Payton said that Drew Brees still has, quote, a ways to go. He has had 11 broken ribs and a punctured lung. Now, in the span of 2 days, apparently he went a long ways, and he's going to start. That's at least the plan going into the game. That means Taysom Hill will go back to being a gadget gimmick player. Hill leads the NFL in fumbles since becoming the starting quarterback of the Saints a couple weeks ago. He's not going to play, at least not as the quarterback, unless Drew Brees gets hurt. Friend of the show, Michael Thomas, he's out, Gascon, for New Orleans. So he's out with an injury there. And how rusty is Drew Brees going to be? How rusty is Drew Brees going to be? He hasn't played since week 10 against the 49ers. So I don't expect much out of him. Patrick Mahomes and friends. Now, they're not outperforming the gambling market. They're just 6-7 against the spread, which is problematic. They are a road favorite here. But one of the reasons Kansas City is committed one of the reasons that they're that bad is they've committed the second most penalties per game in the NFL. People don't talk about that, but Andy Reid's team has been undisciplined so far this season. And Travis Kelce, this guy has been a monster for the Chiefs. He's on pace to become the first tight end ever to lead the NFL in receiving yards. I expect this to be a back-and-forth game early, but the Chiefs with too much firepower. Chiefs 36, Saints 26.
Penny also going with Kansas City in this one. Ben, updated line still shows it -3 for KC, but 73% of the betting public is on the road team.
All right. Well, I'll be with Joe Public on this one. Justin in Cincinnati says Drew Brees should apologize again. I agree. He should apologize for getting hurt. I think we need him and his wife to apologize because he got hurt. I think that's inappropriate. Bad job by you. Shame on you. All right, what's next here? Sunday night, you see the numbers there. Cleveland 9-4 at the Giants 5-8. It's on NBC. And Al Michaels, he's not calling this game. They say it's COVID related. They didn't say whether he had COVID or he was around someone that had COVID. But Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth have the call. The Browns opened a 3-point favorite. They're favored by 6.5. in this game on the road. 34 degrees, mostly cloudy at MetLife Stadium. And I'm going to take the Giants. I'm going with the Giants here. Browns coming off that heartbreak hotel loss to the Ravens in a rambunctious Monday Night Football game. And you don't know what you're going to get from the quarterback position. I saw a stat about Baker Mayfield this week, which was fascinating. When Cleveland attempts a play-action pass, they got that great running game, the two-headed monster in the backfield. When they go play-action, Baker Mayfield has averaged almost 10 yards per pass attempt. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's second best in the NFL on play action passes. But when playing just a traditional drop back, no play action, without play action, he's averaging 6.3 yards per pass attempt. That is 29th in the NFL. So he goes from the second best when you do play action, 29th ranked quarterback. The moral of the story, Gascon, more play action. More play action if you're a Cleveland Browns apologist. All right, now, secondly, the Garrett tested positive. He has the COVID. So Freddie Kitchens is going to call the plays in this game, the former Cleveland coach. Daniel Jones had a bad hammy and ankle, which means Cole will be back under center. But I am going to roll with Big Blue. I'm going to go with Big Blue this week. Fortune favors the brave and the bold and all that. Joe Judge and the Giants are 8-3 against the spread as an underdog this season. Giants 24, Browns 21, the final.
No upset special here. Penny is going with the Cleveland Browns.
All right, now we better hurry up here because the internet is about to crash, apparently. My God. Hey, we've got the Pittsburgh-Cincinnati game. Did you see that story about Al Villanueva, the Steelers offensive lineman?
Is there another story on him?
Well, he hasn't had internet for the last year. He said he got rid of his smartphone. He got a flip phone in the offseason to minimize outside noise. I didn't realize there was so much outside noise against Al Villanueva. I had no idea. He said, though, he had a good quote. He says, "I'm somewhere between a 2020 millennial and a Pennsylvania Amish person," is what he said. So very nice. All right, last game, Pittsburgh 11-2, Cincinnati 2-10-1. You see the numbers there. It's on ESPN with Steve Levy, Brian Griese, and Louis Riddick, who's interviewing for the Falcons and the Lions general manager job. I'm going to take the Bengals. The line on this game is 13.
Oh.
I'm going to take the Bengals. I'm not betting the game, but I'm not taking Pittsburgh. 39 degrees, light rain at Paul Brown Stadium, where the Cincinnati Bros can go watch the Bengals and enjoy themselves there. Now, Pittsburgh has been white-knuckling it this season. They're 11-2, but 7 of the 11 wins have come by an average of less than 5 points. Mike Tomlin's team has a bunch of receivers that have hands of stone. We've talked about this on the radio show in the overnight, but the Steelers have 33 total drops and a 6.3% drop rate, highest in the NFL for both the drop rate and the total drops. And over the past 3 weeks, they have 14 drops and a 9.9%. 1 out of every 10 passes is dropped. That's insane.
Yeah.
For Pittsburgh. And Roethlisberger hasn't played that well. The wide receivers, the pass catchers have not helped him out. Did you see Roethlisberger took a backhanded shot at the receivers and the running backs not blocking?
Yeah.
And he said people were ripping the offensive line. He's like, well, wait a minute here. It's also the receivers and the offensive linemen. Like I said, I'm not betting on this game. If I did, I would take Cincinnati. The reason I'm not betting it is they're a 5A team. Zach Taylor's got to be fired at the end of the year. The Bengals, check this out. How bad is the offense since the number 1 pick went down with injury? All right? The Bengals have scored a touchdown without Joe Burrow on 5 of 55 offensive possessions since their Week 9 bye. That is a 9% success rate. That is terrible. Horrific. So I'll take the Steelers to win, though, and to cover the spread. Steelers 26, Bengals 16.
Penny will not be fooled. It will go with the Pittsburgh Steelers for the win and the cover.
All right, the guy's enjoying my bad internet. Let's see, who do we have here? Frank says buffering worse than the USC offense, he says. Alf the Alien Opiner says, Benny the buffer going out with a bang. There you go. All right. Well, that'll do it here. Thanks to everyone for being in the chat. And are we doing this next week, Gascon?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really up to you. You want to do it next week? All
Yeah, of
right.
course. Got to keep the
Who the
keep.
hell, who's going
What's
to
that?
watch this on Christmas? Who's going to watch this on Christmas?
Bunch of drunks. Same people that watch it tonight.
That's a good point.
Let me
That is a good point. All
let
right.
me let me summarize.
Gascon,
You got Denver, Carolina, Houston, Tennessee, Atlanta, Miami, Washington, Chicago. Did you have Chicago or Minnesota? You had Minnesota.
I took Minnesota in that game.
Yeah. Jacksonville, San Francisco, the Jets, Eagles, KC, the G-Men, and the Cincinnati Bengals.
The Bengals. Yeah. Oh boy, picking a bunch of bad teams. Jacksonville, Cincinnati, the Jets. This is not going to go well for me. This is not going to go well at all. I was going to do a long goodbye, Gascon, but my internet sucks so much. I'm not going to do a long goodbye. But I guess we'll have a show next week. I'll be on social media. You guys, I'll probably do it. I'll be bored out of my mind. I'm actually, I think I'm going to the forest. I'll be off the grid a couple of days next week.
Yeah.
But then when I come back, I'll do an Aspen or whatever. And, why not? Have a good
do
time.
that. That's fine.
Get you up with the militia. So,
yeah. Nothing wrong with that. We'll catch you guys again next week. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the show, hit the notifications. And this stuff's all live and on demand, so you guys can watch us back on Saturday, of course, Sunday morning. And if you need a little bit of a taste, Monday afternoon as well. Fanatics, description at the bottom, Ecamm Live as well, if you guys are producing any kind of content. And for Ben and myself, a Merry Christmas to all, and we'll see you guys again next week. Good luck.